A sea of bodies, embarking on what would turn out to be one of the most grueling marathons ever. Their route leads through the boroughs of Brooklyn and Queens, across the Queensboro Bridge, through Manhattan and the Bronx, across Harlem, and down through Central Park and the finish line. Near the halfway point, a new leader emerged.
This is Orlando Pizzolato. He has just passed the halfway mark at a 2:10:06 pace. He is the leader. He could be serious. He's 26 years old. He ran the New York City Marathon last year in 2:15:28. He's done better.
A physical therapy student from Ferrara in northern Italy was running in his 15th marathon, but his road racing record hardly stamped him as a contender. He had finished 27th in last year's New York City Marathon. Pizzolato's lead seemed a temporary one as he approached the Queensboro Bridge. ABC commentator Bill Rogers reported from trackside.
Hey, Jim, this is turning out to be anybody's race. I still think Dixon's in good position. Gadama Shahanga of Tanzania is running a smart race, better than he did last year. And Dave Murphy of England is on a roll. He's won twice here in New York this past year at major road races. But it's anybody's race. The guy from Italy looks good, too. We'll have to see a little later.
Pizzolato came off the bridge and started up First Avenue.
This race is getting tougher and tougher. And though the Italian runner, Pizzolato, looks good, this man has a PR of 2:14 in the marathon. He has very little experience. I still think it's wide open.
As Pizzolato continued up First Avenue, ABC TV's anchor Jim McKay commented,
The leader in this race in the men's division still is Orlando Pizzolato of Italy, looking stronger all the time, much more impressive. He's got a good, solid lead.
But in the next mile, Pizzolato's stride weakened, closing the distance between him and the pack.
Is about to build. There's going to be a race, it looks like. Here is Orlando Pizzolato of Italy. He is still the leader in the race. However, he did the last mile in 5:26. He is slowing. Rod Dixon is less than a minute behind now, has moved into third place ahead of Pat Peterson, is just behind Dave Murphy, and both Murphy and Dixon certainly have a solid chance, I would think, Marty, of catching this one.
Expert commentator Marty LaCorey wrote off Pizzolato's chances here.
Well, I think we've entered the last chapter on Orlando. As Bill pointed out, I might have been too excited at 18 miles, not because he's Italian, but maybe because I am. He ran a 5:12 and a 5:26, and I think in about another 2.5 miles it's going to be Ciao Orlando, and Rod Dixon and Dave Murphy will be fighting for the top spot.
Pizzolato was obviously feeling the heat and the humidity. He was struggling, and his lead was dissolving.
Has slowed down. There's two ways you can slow down. Your stride can get shorter, or the rate you turn him over gets slower. And he's still springy. He's still getting the same length out of his stride, but the RPMs aren't there anymore. And when we get a shot of Dave Murphy, as we've had, he is still motoring. He's still picking up the pace. I don't think that Orlando is going to be able to recover in the park and get back down the 5-minute pace, which is what he's going to have to do. When the runners start looking down at their feet and digging in, trying to take a few hard steps to increase that stride rate, you know it's starting to come hard to them. He's also gobbling all the water he can get also.
Pizzolato now in the streets of West Harlem. He stopped. The leader has stopped. Pizzolato shaking his head, obviously feeling pain in his chest there, it looked like, in the middle.
Pain, dizziness. If he's getting the dizziness, he needs to stop and gather himself, stop and get some water. He can hold on for 4th or 5th. There's a lot for him to still accomplish, but if he pushes it too hard and goes for the win, he may be in the same predicament that Gabriel Anderson was in the Olympics.
Now the race,
battling those gremlins right now.
Very soon the race then may go to Dave Murphy of England and Rod Dixon of New Zealand, the defending champion. Now, let's see if we can see Murphy. There he is, just very small on the top of your screen, behind the red shirt there. He's very, very small behind the motorcycle in the middle of your screen. Now he's obscured a little bit. But Murphy is in the picture at this point as Pizzolato has stopped once and is running much, much slower.
Pizzolato's lead over the onrushing Murphy would shrink to a mere 15 seconds in this, the home stretch. But the underdog continued to push ahead. By now, the pace had become agonizingly slow, with every step a painful effort. And the skeptics who earlier had written off Pizzolato developed second thoughts.
It would be a tremendous upset.
No question of it. As you saw the little pause, and then starting again with the quick look back to see where is Murphy. Where is that man? Whether he even knows it's Murphy, we don't know. But he knows there's somebody there in a striped singlet that is just driving him bananas. Heading for the finish. Another look back. He must feel that he's got it now. But still the grimace, the strain in the face. It will be interesting to see what happens after the finish line. Is he near collapse or not? Tremendous roar now from the crowd.
Tremendous roar, and I'm sure 99% of them have no idea who they're looking at. They've seen Rod Dixon's picture in the paper all week, and they don't see a mustache on this young man.
And Rod Dixon might well be wondering if he were still in the race, who is this man? It's what we talked about before the race, that the man to fear very often in a marathon is the man you do not know. Well, here he is, the stranger. No longer a stranger to New York, Orlando Pizzolato. And there is the finish line. Here he comes. The winner of the 1984 New York City Marathon is Orlando Pizzolato. And he's still on his feet. Very much as Rod Dixon did last year. Actually, appeared to kiss the ground.
For winners, the race doesn't end at the finish line. In the hours and days following the New York City Marathon, Orlando Pizzolato's face and the champion name appeared on the front pages of newspapers in New York and across the nation. Suddenly, Pizzolato was the toast of the town at the victory celebration, on network TV, even in Rochester, where he made a whirlwind personal...